is a miracle, doc. They counted me out. Moment of truth, counting it down. Underdog story was down for the count. Back on my feet, back with a mic, back on the beat, back with a family that bang in the streets. The game on lock, I stand with a key. Standing my ground, I am planning to flee. Standing my ground, I am planting my feet. Taking a stand, embracing my destiny, shaking his hand, flipping the script.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Sunday night CrossFit Talk. You got it. We're going. It's been a long weekend. I'm running on fumes, but hey, wanted to stay consistent, give you guys a Sunday night show, talk about what you saw this weekend. I'll tell you what I saw in person. We'll go through the night, however it is. Stereo Scott is the best kind of Scott. I'm just telling you that it's CrossFit. We just don't have enough of it. What's up, Jody, Slater, Shanna, Trent Olive, Kenneth the Lab? What's going on? We're going to go down through who won all the events this weekend. We're going to talk about what I saw. We're going to talk about the good and the bad. I'm going to list them out. The good things, the bad things. Again, I'm just coming out of it, so hopefully I've caught it all. If I didn't, I'm sure some other people in the chat will help me out. And I'm also opening up, if you were an athlete that competed this weekend and you're in the chat and you want to hop on and say, hey, and what your weekend was like, I can send you a link. You can come in and say, hey, just let me know. With that, one funny thing is, you know how much we love our theme song on this show. Love this theme song. I'm watching the Bears game Friday night in a way that could be construed not necessarily legal. So it's coming out of stream out of Chicago. And there's a casino that is now using our theme song in Chicago, which is wild. I got the song from a royalty-free site where people just put music up and you pay a membership fee to get it. And so, yeah. So a casino in Chicago is using this same theme song that we are. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. Lots going on here. I saw Denise was glad to see me this weekend. Always glad to see Denise. Train Olive, I was so impressed with Denise Moore, especially on that last workout. She is awesome. Jay Birch, got to meet him in person. I think the miss was Pit Media streaming it, not CrossFit Games YouTube channel. We'll get into that a little bit. Dan Churchill, yeah, shout out to Clydesdale Media Crew at the Age Group CrossFit Games, crushed it. I feel bad. The only event I was able to tune in this weekend for Jamie or Carolyne was the last event. Yeah, you missed the good ones, man. You missed the good ones. Denise, yeah, your phone will work. I can send you a link here in a second. Fergie, I feel gutted for Jamie. Here's my perspective on Jamie. And I talked to her afterwards, and I know that she is the hardest person on her. The hardest person on Jamie is herself. She is going to beat herself up for a while over this. Here's the thing. We've talked about this going into the games. This was not biased towards her type of athleticism at all. The fact that she went toe-to-toe with the fittest women in the world in events that she's not necessarily good at and had a chance to be on the podium in the last event was freaking amazing. And I know that seems like consolation, but if you see Jamie in person, she is very small. Very small. Everybody I talked to that knows anything about the sport said she had no chance in the sled push event. And she won it. She won it. But we talk about this with Colton Mertens, like, at what expense did her body take to win this event that she was supposed to have no shot in the world on because she's so tiny? She wins it. And then what effect does that have on the next event and the next event? It is, if you have to see Jamie in person to understand what she accomplishes. It is remarkable what she does. Remarkable. Judy Reed, she's smaller than me and people think I'm petite. Denise Moore, she's so tiny compared to me, but she's very strong for her size. Shanna, I think she did great. She showed up when people didn't think she would do well. She did. She freaking killed workouts this weekend. And truly, she was in it till the end. It was just a no rep, a questionable no rep at that, on a snatch in the last event that took her from 3rd to 5th. That's it. One no rep, because at her size, she just can't afford to do the extra reps of snatching at that weight. I mean, that's like, her 1 rep max is like 155, and she's snatching 125 for reps. It's a lot. It came down to the strength, which is what she always say. She's super fit. Yeah, I don't know. She is. Listen, she's still top 5 in the world in programming that was biased in a different direction than what is her strength, and she still took 5th, and that is freaking amazing. Amazing. I could not be prouder of that woman. She's one of my best friends. I was gutted in the stands for her. I wanted this so much for her. And man, I took it on the chin. But when I thought about it, it was like, she's freaking amazing. And that's what it is. Yeah, Scott Panchak did do awesome. Well, without further ado, let's go through the leaderboards. Let's talk about who wins. We'll get the podiums for each one of these. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Denise, I'll send you a link here in a second. So I will blow this up the best I can. So here we are, 35 to 39 women. First place ended up being Caroline Klutz. Second place, Carolyne Prevost. Third place, Sarah Costas. This came down to Caroline Klutz and Carolyne Prevost were separated by 8 points going into the last event. The last event, Carolyne Prevost got no rep on a rope climb, which was wild. I don't know how that happened. And because of that, she had to do an extra rope climb. That made her fall down in this event pretty bad. But she had enough point lead over third that she went ahead and kept second place overall. So our very own Carolyne Prevost, silver medalist at this year's CrossFit Games. Yes, Shannon. So glad Carolyne got to stay on the podium. Yes. We look at the men from this division. Or maybe we'll go the next one up and then so 44, 40 to 44, Carly Newlands. This was her rookie season. She won the 40 to 44. Or no, she won last year. And then Amanda Cummins, who was great all weekend long. Andrea Pinheiro took third. Susan Plack took fourth. And there's our Jamie Latimer in fifth place. And Megan Apostolaris, who also is a listener, was in sixth. Let's go to 45 to 49. The legendary Kelly Friel, who I think this is her fourth victory at the CrossFit Games. against the legend Val Vobrel. And then Sarah Barkley took third. We go to 50 to 54. Kim Purdy won. Lisa Minchetti took second. Jen Dieter took third. I felt so bad for Jen Dieter. Her snatches blew up in the last square. She went from first overall to third in that. It's crazy. A shout out to Lido. I think she's in top 10. This is her first Masters. Lido actually fell to 12th on the last event. I talked to her after the event. She's good. This was her first time. She's gathering data. She knows what to take back now. We talked as I was leaving the building tonight, and yeah, she's doing great. She's doing great. Got to talk to her and her husband a lot this weekend. She is just one cool chick. That is for sure. What kind of payday is the Masters Podium? It varies by age, Ken. I think so it's based on a percentage of the Open. So we published it a couple weeks ago. Holly did her best to figure it out by percentages, and it's somewhere around like 22,000 for first, 8,000 for second, and 4,000 for third in the 35 to 39. Then it goes like 8, 4, 3. I don't know, 8, 4, 2, something like that. I don't know. But if you look back on my Instagram, maybe a couple weeks, Holly did try to figure that out, and we did post that. All right. Prevost, such a good mover. Her box jump overs were crazy. They are. She is so good at that. Yeah, it is not a lot. It's not a lot. I actually talked with that a lot of the masters in my interviews that the payday, you're not here for the pay, that's for sure. Yeah, most of them are still at a negative, Fergie. Jeff Bako, the pay is pride. Yep, that is for sure. Let's go to the next one. 55 to 59. Cindy Hinkle. She is Denise Moore's training partner and best friend. She ends up winning this division. Lee Coates ends up taking second. I actually got an interview with her. She's freaking awesome. She came from Hong Kong, even though she was born in the UK. Her coach is Ant Haynes. If you remember him from the CrossFit Games, they're really fun to talk to and hang out with. And then Dana Mather took third. 60 to 64. Lori Mishiznik wins again. Jose Sarda took second. Christy Pruitt took third. And 65 to 69. There's our very own Denise Moore with the win. Cecil Crippies took second. And Pam Kusar took third. And then 70 plus for the first time ever. Polly McKinstry took first. Betty Harden took second. Sandra Jacques took third. Let's go to the men. If I can get to it here. All right. On the men's side, we'll go in reverse. Thomas Ackerman took first. Lou Wynn took second. Ken Ogden took third. $65 to $69. Mitchell Taylor first. Greg Beam second. Ron Wilson third. Can Denise use her Jitterbug phone to get on the show? She should be able to. I'm going to try to get her on here. I will try to send her. Let me see if I can get her on. I just sent her a link. We'll see what happens. Geez, is that the same acronym as Nate and his mom? I do not know, but he's been at this a long, long time. Angela, I let Carolyne and Jamie have the night off. I think they're both traveling. Jamie's on the road to Michigan, and Carolyne is probably on a flight to Toronto. So then in the 64, Paul McCrary, David Powell, Dan Roberts, and I brought Denise in. I'll let her talk as I go down.
Hi. Let's see if I can do this a little better.
So you have to unlock your screen.
I'm on there.
You're on.
Hi.
Hi. How are
How
you?
you guys doing? How do I go sideways?
We will pause.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, great.
So in order to go sideways, you have to unlock your screen. So you have to do that like diagonal swipe and then hit the unlock on the turny thing.
Oh, it wasn't locked.
Right here, that one. That's shaded.
It's good. We're both doing so well. All right, I'm going to go back to portrait.
There you go.
All right. Hey, hi. How are you guys?
Oh, I'm good. How are you feeling?
I'm so tired. It's so as soon as the podium was done, as soon as the drug testing was done, we went drinking.
So you're hungover or drunk?
I've sobered up a bit. I would have been on my Chromebook, but I don't know, the internet in our room just crapped out. So I was like, crap. Now I'm stuck with the phone. But it was a great weekend. It was great seeing you. I'll show you this.
There it is. Gold medal.
It's dang heavy. It's really heavy.
Is this your first win?
This is my first win. Last year I came in second place. And in Birmingham.
That's awesome. Better every day. How did you celebrate? What did you get to eat?
Went down to Pearl, and I had a burger there and margarita and a shot of tequila. This is very unusual for me. Yeah, I don't normally partake in alcohol, so it was.
If I would have known we were getting drunk, Denise, I would have had you on right at the beginning of the show.
At Legends, I have to say, at Legends, I think I was actually drunk when I got onto the podium. This year, not.
Jay Birch says gold is heavy.
Yeah. I have no idea what kind of material this is. It's pretty thick. I don't know if you can see how thick it is. But but it's really heavy. Last year when we flew home, I had the second place one. I got pulled aside by security because they scanned it and they couldn't figure out what it was inside my backpack.
Well,
so
Denise, you wear it around your neck and you're like, go ahead, scan me.
Yeah. No, you're not. I can't even have a hair tie in your pocket. Oh my God. Hold on.
Oh no.
That was weird. All of a sudden the network started working again on the Chromebook. It
Shots
just
with
started
you.
talking to me. Sorry. What was I saying? Thank you, Terry.
Well deserved,
Thank you,
Denise.
Winner. I appreciate it. It was a great weekend. I think some of the changes that they made were I guess well, they weren't unavoidable, but it's hard when you plan for a particular workout and you come in and the day before they change it, whether it's weights or I don't know if they changed any movements, but they certainly changed weights.
Change the
Bob's
bar
on,
thickness.
huh?
Change the bar thickness.
Yeah. I mean, the equipment changed because they didn't have they couldn't put all the weights on the bar for the heavy men.
Yep. And they pretty much admitted that they didn't test that workout on WOD Prep earlier tonight.
Oh, they did? Oh, good. At least they owned up to it. Because you're sitting there thinking, well, didn't you test this out? And then they changed the weights because they wanted to make it easier for the loaders. Even with the regular men's bar and women's bar, the 20 and the 15 kilogram bars. Like, all right. That's stupid.
Bob or Joe said it was actually the wrong colors. I don't know if that's for real or Bob and Joe, the Tappet brothers.
What do you mean the wrong colors?
I
don't even know what that means.
He's joking. I think he's joking.
It looked like they wanted to use the white 10s so that they're easier to load. So you don't have to like scrape it along the floor. So you have the 45s on, then you put 10s on, white 10s, and then you throw 2 more white 10s on. And that's what it looked like they did. That's how ours ended up being the way that it was.
It was the clips or the collars. Collars came out colors. They did say it was the collars.
The collars, not the colors.
Or the clips.
Yeah. That was, they didn't have enough room on the end of the axle bar to put the right amount of weight on there. The clips just would fall off. And then they changed the weight, even though they went to the 45 and the 35 pound bar. They changed the weights to make it easier on the loaders. I don't know. I don't think it really changed much because at least in our division, it was really just a sled workout. It was how much you wanted to hurt on the sled.
Nobody slowed down on the deadlift. It was definitely a sled push, but we don't know if the axle bar and the grip would have changed anything. That's the only thing we don't know. But yeah,
I will tell you, I tested at home. See, I have big man hands, so I don't know. But the deadlift never, even at 155, ours ended up being 145. Even at 155 axle bar 2 inches, it didn't slow me down. It was just incidental.
So I got another question for you. You and Cindy both won. Your best friends and your training partners.
Yes.
Who celebrated harder tonight?
Cindy. I'm back in the room and she's out partying some more with her sister who came to visit.
There you go.
So I'm such a lightweight. I really am. But at 66, you got to be careful.
Right.
But she's out. I think they tried to find some speakeasy somewhere.
Oh, there's a couple of those down there.
Oh, okay. I'm already shouting.
70 plus age group celebrated with Metamucil shots. Everybody's making the old jokes now.
Was it Jeff that said I had a jitterbug phone? I got that.
I don't remember who said it. I think it was CrossFat. But yeah, someone said you had a jitterbug phone to call in on. Bifocals in the swag bags. I'll tell you what, like the lighting in there was so bad, I couldn't wear my glasses because like I could not find the right part of my transition to get into focus quickly enough when I like turned my head. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, because I'm so blind and I can't wear my glasses working out, I don't see anyway. And then we had to get the drug tested afterwards, and you have to fill out paperwork. And now I don't have my glasses. And he's like, here, sign here and read this question. I'm like, I can't read that. And you won't let me get my glasses. You can't touch anybody. No one can touch you. You can't hand anything to anybody. I'm like, you're going to have to help me, dude. I can't read this.
Yeah. Yeah. I talked to Jamie and Carolyne Klutz both after the drug test, and Carolyne drank 6 bottles of water. Jamie drank 7 just to get enough pee to pee in the cup.
I knew that from last year. And what I did was, as soon as they corralled us, I just pounded water. And I think it took me three bottles, and I was good. Cindy got blood tested. So the way they do the blood testing is they pick random groups, like divisions, and they blood test the winner of that group. And Cindy was the lucky one. So she's walking around, if you see her, she's walking around with a Band-Aid around her or on her arm. I don't know why she still has it on there.
Replacing it with alcohol. And now she's replacing the blood with alcohol.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very much.
Um,
she parties hardier than I do.
The other thing that I found fascinating, I was talking to Carolyne Klutz. This was her third third drug test in like 3 weeks. She got a random test at home before the games. She was on a team at the games that had to be drug tested, and then drug tested here at the Age Group Games.
They spent a lot of money on her.
They did.
Because that drug testing isn't cheap.
Crazy.
I guess you have to. I mean, it's part of the rules. Oh.
And then at the Collegiate Nationals, they gave us a beer before the piss test. In fairness, it was the 80s. Yeah. Yep, that's how we did things back then.
They don't let you touch anybody. You can't high five your people after the workout. It's okay. I really thought my last workout was going to be, I was sweating bullets last night. I never slept. We had 2 people in our division injure themselves pretty badly too.
Was that the one that fell off the GHD?
Teresa Demich fell off the GHD. I think what happened was she didn't have her feet all the way in, and then she went back. Her feet pulled out, and then she fell to the left onto the floor, and she heard some tearing in her shoulder. And then that was
pretty bad.
Dava Jensen, she was trying to ring muscle up and just got in a really bad position, and it pulled her shoulder. So she's going to have some, I don't know, probably some imaging on it. So 2 people hurt their shoulders this weekend in my division.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, listen, sure, we cannot do an overhead squat at 55 pounds. So they made our division do front squats. Can't do an overhead squat. But sure, after the 3rd round, go try a muscle up. Where's the sense in that?
Orthopods love CrossFit.
Yeah.
Well, Denise, I want to congratulate you. I'm sorry I missed you today.
Thank you. Scott, thank you. Thank you for everything that you do for us. We really appreciate it. Us masters, you do such good work. We really do appreciate you.
Well, thank you. I love being there. I love hanging out with you guys. It's really just the highlight of my year. Really, this is my favorite place to be in the whole year.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you, and have a great night. Rest up.
You too.
All right.
All right. So are you gonna still be on though?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. See you guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Denise Moore, champion, 60 to 64-year-old division. Let's continue on. Where are we at here? 55 to 59, Greg Geards, Randy Lowe, and Sean Patrick were the top three there. We go down to the 50 to 54, Chad Pinther, Justin LaSala, Jeremiah Head. Then we go down to 45 to 49, Jason Grubb with his 6th consecutive title. Kane Haynes, David Johnston, got to meet him this weekend. He's in the chats a lot. Super cool guy. He actually podiums and gets a bronze medal. 40 to 44, we have Rudy Berger with his 3rd title. Bruno Militao takes 2nd. Chicho Quesada took 3rd. He was last year's champion, took 3rd in that division. Then we go to the 35 to 39, where for the first time in his long, illustrious career, Scott Panchek with a gold medal and a podium finish, and he gets finally a CrossFit Games medal. Marquand Jones with the 2nd, Con Porter with the 3rd. This was a super tight battle the entire weekend. Everybody back and forth. I think all 3 of these men led at one time, and Chase Smith was in that mix with them the entire weekend as well. Super fun division to watch. These men still have it, and they were going after it hard, and it was really fun to watch. But super cool that Scott Panchek finally gets a medal at a CrossFit Games. Train Olive, she's right, Scott. I was following these divisions because you highlight them and the people in them. Hey, I love these people. Like, if you've never been to this, they walk around like they're at a local comp. You can just sit. Like, I sat and talked to Con Porter. I sat and talked to Scott Panchek. You can just sit and do that, and there's no air about them. They're just hanging out with everybody else. They're there with their families. You know, kids are playing everywhere. It's really just a cool vibe and a cool hangout. And when we get to my worst things of the weekend, we'll talk about why that sucks in some ways. So yeah, so many dogs. I noticed that today. My dog allergy was, I was fighting that all day today. There was a ton of people there too. Con is so funny. He is. All right. I guess I wasn't sharing my screen with the last updates, but there it is. The other thing that was wild this weekend is I'm getting more and more recognized, especially in this community. And a guy came up to me yesterday and said, I listen to your lunch show every day. Every day I have lunch with you. Well, really, I listen to you while I'm pooping. And I didn't know how to take that. Is that a compliment? Like, am I helping cure constipation? Or do I take that as like, hey, I got nothing better to do while I'm pooping, so I listen to you? But I found it interesting that he shared with me that that's when he decides to listen to me. So that was pretty fun. But so many people were coming up and saying hi, and that they listened to the lunch show. They listened to the Sunday night show. It was really, really funny. And I got to meet a lot of people, and everybody was so nice. Judy Reed asks, is that my husband? Better not have been. It was not your husband. Not your husband. I guarantee you. He poops for an hour. What's wrong with that, Jody? I thought that's normal. John Jenkins compliment that it's sacred time. Scott, you're a laxative. There we go. You replaced last generation's East Bay catalog in Sports Illustrated on the pooper. Man, it is my day to shine. He finds you relaxing. He's saying that Clydesdale is the shit. It's a compliment. He should call in like Denise next time. Yeah, like Frank. Only from the waist up, please. Judy. Yeah. So I also learned something about Judy's husband this weekend. So everybody has told me his name is Doug. So I call him Doug Reed all the time. Turns out his name is not Doug. That's just what Savon has been calling him. And now everybody else, it's like his Pedro to Peter. His name is David, and everybody calls him Doug. But I got that rectified in person. Anyway, if he's Masters, the toilet has bars around it. Well, you got to have something to prop it up on, right? CrossFit, like if he has a bar, he can just set it there and kind of watch. Hands free then. Lana Marcine, nobody hustles like that woman. Just got home. Great week of fitness. Good to see you, Scott. Lana tries to see all of her friends over these weekends, and she takes a piece of paper and she writes out the schedule and she crosses off as she hits each one through the weekend. And she is running to all of those things so she doesn't miss a single workout any of her friends are doing. Peter equals Pedro. David equals Doug. He's honored to be talked about no matter what you call him. Judy Jody. Yeah. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. What else happened? So I was doing these interviews and I really pivoted this weekend to do something different where I talked to athletes and I didn't talk about the weekend. I'm not a lot, very little about this weekend and more about like their purpose, their why they got into CrossFit, why they continue to do this later in life, all of those things. And that's what I'm trying to put together as my end product from this weekend. And some of them I just left raw and uncut and I put out as members only videos. So Jamie did one, Carolyne did one, Con Porter did one, and I just put those out for members only. So if you are a members only and you did not see those, they're out there on the YouTube channel now. And I'll probably put a couple more out as full versions like that. But at the end of the day, I'm going to take one subject and clip them all together. And it'll be like one full video of this is my purpose. And maybe one video of this is what I do to earn a living while I'm doing this other thing. And then we're going to intermingle some floor shots and basically modified reels into those interviews that were done by my videographer, Caitlin. So that will be like the end product of this weekend. But it was really cool to I could never do this at the Elite Games, to sit down like on a bench in the middle of nowhere with these athletes and ask the deeper questions, just sitting there hanging out. It was really good. It was really fun. And Denise is one of the people I interviewed. So she's a part of it. But it's going to be fun. And I didn't restrict myself to any level of athlete. Any of the elite athletes that were there, I would take any of them that were willing to talk. And so, but we're going to piece it all together. It'll be fun. I still have to get the Hattie part 2 done. So I got a lot of editing to do in the next month or so. Larry Young, showing up late. Do you think with Grub aging up, he gets as many as Tia? Well, Tia has to stop. So until Tia stops, Grub can win as many as he wants. She's going to stay ahead of him by 2. So as long as she stops Larry, he might have a shot. But who knows? Maybe she just rides us all the way to Masters and just. Poof. I wasn't sure that Jason was going to win this year. He had a lot of competition, and I'm not sure this was programmed right down his alley. But he PR'd his lift. It's actually the best I've seen him look in the time I've really been covering deeply the Masters division. So yeah, I don't see an end in sight. The other thing I have to tell you about the project, and it goes back to my glasses. So I didn't wear my glasses all weekend after I figured that out. So there was like 5 interviews, and I didn't have a place to put my bag. I never got media access. I only had spectator access. So I had to carry all my stuff in a duffel bag or a backpack throughout the entire weekend. So I had to put my camera in and out, in and out. And in one of those in and outs, I bumped the autofocus into manual focus. So like 5 of the videos are a little bit blurry. I'm trying a new AI feature that I found to see if I can get those sharpened up before I use them. But in the end of the day, I might just have blurry video because I had my glasses off. I could not tell in the screen that they were blurry until after the fact. But I'm trying to fix them up. Hopefully I can get them sharpened up at least a little bit so they blend well with the other ones that are in focus. That's one area I'm not trying to take after Savon. I don't want to have blurry pictures, but it may just turn out that way. So let's finish up with a little bit of best and worst from the weekend. So let's start off with, I am truly a Masters aged media person, truly. The good with the Masters CrossFit Games or Age Group CrossFit Games is the community itself. Hanging out there is truly a joy. I want to be there every single year. If you gave me a choice between Elite and an Age Group, I would rather go to Age Group. But I'd also rather go to semifinals than the Games. The Games is very sterilized in the CrossFit Games season, and it's like my least favorite in-person event to cover. And that doesn't mean that, like I've said, this year was like one of the better years, but still it's not as fun as like going to a semifinal or going to the Age Group. The athletes are amazing. They all hang out, they talk. And then the volunteers are amazing. The ones that show up and put in the work are amazing. The other good was the venue. The venue was huge. There were 4 floors. There was a big vendor village. I'm going to talk about that in another way in a second. Lots of space, a big hallway where people could kind of hang out. There were couches. There were chairs everywhere to just kind of hang out. It was really nice. And the minute you walked out the door, there were 500 choices of places to eat. You could walk in any direction and find food. There was food inside the venue. And got my acai bowl today, which I always wait until Sunday. Had that. It was delicious, but great food choices in every direction. The races on the floor were amazing. So many of the races came down to such close calls, and they used finish lines on everything but those dumb AMRAPs. If it wasn't an AMRAP, there was a finish line and you could tell who won. That has been a bugaboo my whole time in media, and I was so glad that they did that. CrossFit says the videos will look good if Scott shares the glasses. There you go. Lots of posturing at the games, not just the athletes. That is very well said, CrossFit. Very well said. And that's just not my vibe. Yeah, and Judy Reed points out, right outside the doors is where the Arnold statue is, and there's a little outdoor picnic area that you could hang out in the sun, get warm, get some fresh air, get some sunshine, all of that kind of stuff too. Denise agrees. The venue is great, great food. Larry Young, we all have the programming under a microscope, but the truth is the athletes are crazy fit to make it there, and they are beasts on everything if we didn't have to compare them. Jay Birch, that herbal hydroponic growing house was cool. It was. Yeah, they had a place right there where they grow different vegetables, and then those vegetables they use in their food right there outside. It's inside the venue, but not inside the doors of where the floors were. How many people took pictures with the statue? That statue is getting pictures of it all day long. All day. And everybody doing the flex. The other thing I'll tell you is the broadcast I thought was great in its execution. They had a different company do the broadcast. I thought the graphics were cool. I thought that the new scoring system, they call it the F1 scoring system down the side of the screen, was much cooler than what's been done in the past. And as things changed, they would put a little yellow bar for every movement. So you could see when someone moved on from that movement to the next one. And then there were green and red arrows by the names as they moved up or down the leaderboard. I thought that was really, really good. Really, as Mark puts it, the scoring overlay was much easier to follow. So much easier. That was like, I thought, the best innovation that came out of this weekend. Now, I don't know who did the broadcast, but what I want to say is, I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit. Joe reached out to me to see if I could find DJs for him because I live here in the city. And my wife used to work at a media school. They train DJs. We contacted them, and they wanted to know if their students who do broadcast could be interned into what they were doing so that they could get credit for what they were doing. They ended up using those people. I don't know if they got the broadcast through them or not, but all of those interns were free. So we reduced the cost of the broadcast by bringing in interns to run cameras, and I still didn't get access. I still didn't get access. Are you? Anyway, I didn't do it. I just connected them. That's all I'm saying. Jay Birch, I had a chance to do the live scoring for that. It was so cool. Trade Olive, as someone who watched solely online, the broadcast was way better than the past. Sometimes hard to find which stream was active, but I was very pleased. Yeah, I'm not saying it was comprehensive. And Shanna points out that there wasn't as much women coverage as there were men's, especially the older divisions. I did, but I didn't know that because I was watching most of it live. but I did watch some of it today just to see what the broadcast came across as. And here's Shanna. Did not seem to stream the women as much as the men, especially the upper ages. And yes, I was jazzed about the scoreboard. I do not know about the DJ snag this morning. Interns, great idea. Kind of a stab in the back, Scott. Kind of, but at this point, what's it matter? My pivot actually is going to turn out better than what I was going to do in the first place with the interviews I got and more deep conversations. So at the end of the day, made lemons out of lemonade, and we're doing okay. So, Judy, I had media access. I just didn't have access to have anybody on the floor. And my videographer, in all fairness, is 5'1". She's a tiny little thing, and she's great at what she does, but trying to get over the hordes of people that are on the fence is really hard for her. And if she's on the floor, you don't really see her that much. It's just silly. I just wanted access for her, not really for me. I understood the behind the scenes stuff with the teens. They didn't want to make it unsafe for the teens back there. I get it. But I want my person that's taking video footage, I just wanted her to have a vantage point where she could see. That's all. Tommy Marquez was telling me about the media school kids. Didn't realize you helped get them. I did. It was really my wife more than anyone. I just reached out to her, and she got us a phone number, and we took it where we did. Looked less expensive than Hamilton Road. No fault on them. Right, but we got to try less expensive, man. We got to try. So, felt like a trial run at the streaming model, not paying for the entire day. It's also about that the cameraman can only work so many hours a day without having to be switched out. And when you have that many different divisions, you can't give them breaks like you can at a normal comp. That is my understanding. That's what I've been told. And that's where the cost goes really high. That's why they reduced it down to just windows of action throughout the day. Michelin or Goodyear for that truck that kept running you over. Again, I pivoted to a thing that's cooler, so I'm fine with it. I just wanted Caitlin to be able to see the floor. Could be friend have done a better stream with his iPhone? No. And the innovations, the graphics, the overlays, way better than some of the stuff that Hamilton Road has done. Yes, they didn't do as much coverage. Yes, they used some stationary cameras for some of the shots, but they did do it at a little bit of reduced price, and that's okay. It was still really good coverage. Yeah, Shannon, I'm not explaining the camera people as men, women. I was explaining it as why it was a reduced window. I don't know why they would do more men than women. That makes no sense. All right. The last thing is the crowds. The crowds were really, really full. I don't know what that means. It's really hard to tell in a convention center when the seats are people standing around a fence and then a small bleacher area, but they were always full. You couldn't get in to see anything unless you were there a little bit early and kind of nudged your way to the fence, or found like an empty seat early and kind of sat there till your thing came. Very, very big crowds compared to Birmingham last year. But I do know that those bleachers could go higher. So one negative I would say is they should have made them higher. There was a demand for that. Put in a couple more rows. That would have been better. Did I see John Woolley? Yes, I did. I always see John Woolley. He lives in Ohio. I live in Ohio. We always run into each other. Now for the bad. The bad is there were not enough volunteers. It's my understanding that 17 judges, this is just the judges, not all the volunteers, 17 judges didn't show this weekend. So when you're planning on this many there to judge, they're not there. Now you're working on a reduced crew. Now you're having to work more heats. Now you're working 4 days. You're trying to get fed. You're trying to go through everything. And by Sunday, they're wiped out. And it showed today. It showed today. But I don't blame them. I blame the circumstances that got them there. One, if you're signing up to volunteer, go. If you're not going to go, let someone know so they can fill your spot, because they need all those numbers. They need to plan for that. They need to know how many people are going to be there. That's why judges are worn out by Sunday and they make dumb calls, because they've been working 35 or 38 heats in a row. And I didn't just pull that number. I know of a judge that worked 35 or 38 heats in the day I talked to him. That you're not going to get the best judge when you work them that way. It's insane. And I know they had to have those problems at the equipment team, at the athlete control team, at the scoring team, all those. If you're signing up to volunteer, we appreciate you, but either show up or let them know you can't so they can get somebody new. The other thing, programming. Programming played out the way we all said it was going to play out, exactly how we said it was going to play out. And Bob and Joe said enough as much as that in their interview with CJ and WOD Prep this evening. And I still think when they were talking about corrections, it was all male bias. And I kept putting in the chat, you need female testers, because yes, it played out like the last workout played out, where the wall walks blew up for people on the men's side, not on the women's side. The women's side were fine with the wall walks, but the snatches blew up women. So it blew up women in a different way than it blew up men. And they're only talking about the way it affected the men. And that has to change. The volunteers are the best people on the floor. The competitors are great, but we can't do any of that without them. I completely agree, Dan. But also, if you commit to be one, show up. Show up. How did the weighted pistols workouts go? For the stuff I saw, it was fine. I know in the older divisions where it wasn't weighted, they didn't get very many. And I don't think it's an appropriate movement for older groups, period. Didn't Bob allude to it needing to be heavier on WOD Prep? Yeah, because he said that the snatch wasn't the limiting factor. He said it was the wall walk. That means you're only watching the men. And that's what I said in the chat. Larry Young, more than likely it'll swing the other way next year. They always overcorrect. I think you're talking about the CrossFit Games. Age Groups has been leaning in this direction for a couple years now. No, everybody was finishing 25.8. Only a couple men totally blew up on the wall walks and couldn't finish. Most of the people finished. It's just, it was one style of athlete that finished, and the rest struggled with singles on the snatches the whole way through. On the women's side, wall walks on the men's. The other thing, they changed the scoring table the night before the finals. So we knew there were going to be cuts after the 7th event. The 8th event would be half the people. They were sent an email Saturday night saying that the scoring table had changed. That's fine if you want to change the scoring table for less in the field, but people need to know that. Not during the competition, before the competition happens. Nothing seems shadier than when the scoring table changes halfway through a competition. That is ridiculous. Well, this is the same. Well, nope. It's not what I wanted. There it is. He literally says things you say, if you haven't seen more than one person do your workout. Right. Honestly, 95% of the women under 50 clean and jerk over 200. The ladies were super impressive. Yes. That change in the scoring for 15 people scared me. It did, because it basically opened it up for big jumps, and that's what happened in some of the divisions. There were big jumps and big drops because of that change, but it happened in the middle of the freaking contest. You don't announce it on Saturday night. That's something you say on Wednesday before the competition starts, because when you wait until Saturday, it's like you look at the scoreboard and go, ooh, we need to give this person and this person a chance. And not that I'm saying they did that, but that has that appearance of saying that. Yeah. Next thing. The prices. The prices to get in were ridiculous. I've talked about this once. $280 for the weekend was flat out stupid. They had a nice vendor village. Imagine dropping those tickets to $20 a day and people actually coming to watch and see what it is, or maybe just to come shop at vendor village. Who gets happy? The vendors. When the vendors are happy, what are they willing to do? Pay more money. So you make up the difference in your pricing by charging less for the general public to come in. Maybe you get more quantity. Then the vendors are happy and they're willing to pay more to set up a booth, and they sell more product, and then they become happier and they tell other vendors how good it was there. And then you grow things in a different way than just linear, like you is all you can think about. It's the thinking on just keep raising this price on the individuals to come watch is ridiculous. We are not college football. We are not the NFL. We are not Major League Baseball even. We are a niche sport where we're trying to get people to fall in love with it, and you need to make it affordable for people to come check it out. I heard so many stories of people saying, hey, this is going on down here. You should bring a bunch of people. And then they saw the price and went, nah, we'll wait. We'll watch it on stream. We'll do something different. It's ridiculous. The Arnold Expo is cheaper. Bingo. The Arnold Expo is like $30, and they have like 1,000 vendors. And I'm not even joking, like 1,000 vendors. 1,000. So much. They're just looking at it the wrong way. The Arnold doesn't make money because people want to come watch bodybuilding. They make money because people want to come shop. That's why people go. But CrossFit can't get their head around that. They just can't. The Arnold is too packed. Larry, you and I are in the same agreement. The only time you'll ever catch me at the Arnold is if I'm working it, or if I can get in early on the Thursday or late on the Sunday. Vendor fees make them money because vendor fees get so many customers. That is why the Arnold works. CrossFit has not learned that. What did Rogue charge when it was in Columbus? It wasn't much, because I went the first year as a spectator on the first day. It was not much, like less than 50. Would you ever group the age group games back with the individuals? I don't think I would. I may put it in the same city earlier in the week, but never like at the same time. Rogue at Columbus was my all-time favorite. Me too. But then again, I am biased. I only had to drive 20 minutes to go see it. Fluffy Fit CrossFit still tailors to the rich. If you want more people in, open it up to a reasonable price. Amen. The cheap seats at Round Rock was like 50 or 60 a day when Rogue was in Austin. So yeah, it was probably 35, 40 bucks here in Columbus. Same here. I quit going to the Arnold because I couldn't move around. It's a safety issue. Yeah, I'm too old for that shit. I'm not going in there, but that it is a successful business plan for them. And maybe, just maybe, CrossFit should take a look at it. Though Arnold is a household name, easier draw for the non-fan to check out as well. And bodybuilding has been a big deal forever. CrossFit, not so much for Masters 25 tops. I'm okay. Like 80 is not the right answer. That's what I'm saying. Get it down. Maybe you get some more people. Maybe you get more vendors. Then we can talk about more revenue streams. All right. The games as a whole should be a line item on the budget sheet that is simply a large expense to cover what is required, so they don't have to charge us as much for tickets. Right. But Vicky, they can also look at other funding streams to make that line item whatever they need it to be. And they don't. They only look at the traditional ones straight down the fairway. There are other ways to make money. Can't they do a real partnership with the city? More people there, more revenue for the city overall. That's what they're trying to do. The Age Group Games are trying to come back to Columbus again next year, and they're working with the city this year to build that up so that there's more promotion. And the whole outside of the convention center had CrossFit Games banners and stuff. But they need to prove that they can bring some people to the venue. I was always confused when Rogu's built their space to events. Then we did 1 and 2 events and pieced out because they had to expand the building, and where they built the venue was gone. Also, no promotion. My son lives 2 miles away from the venue and said he only knew about it because of us. Fergie Scott, I did not know you were near Columbus. Are you friends with Christy Aramo O'Connell? She and Pat are incredible affiliate owners. Yeah, Fergie, I went to their affiliate for 2 years. Up until like just a month ago. They sold it a few months ago, and yeah, so I know them. And that yellow jersey right there, that's Christy's Games jersey, and it's signed by her. Yes, CrossFit. This was probably a proof of concept. Yeah, probably should have made tickets cheaper this year. Yep. It was really, there was a lot of people, more than I've ever seen at any Masters event. I will say that. But I was stunned almost that many people came at that price. I like the convention center. I just hope they utilize the space better next time. Yeah, me too. I think they could make more stands to get people up above the fence sitters so you can see the floor. That would have been nice on more than just one side and maybe a little bit higher. If it's back in Columbus, I'll make it a priority. It was really fun, man. We had a blast. The last bad thing for me is the damn coffee shop. There was a coffee shop right there outside the doors of where you went into the floors, and the damn coffee shop would close at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You've got CrossFitters, 510 athletes, and all of their friends who probably drink coffee all day long, and you couldn't get a coffee in the afternoon. It was so silly. Every time I was ready for my afternoon coffee, I went over to get one and they were closed. How many site visits do you think they made? I know they made at least 2. They were between Louisville and Columbus as the final destination. They wanted Columbus. That was their dream city. Columbus had a scheduling conflict, so they almost signed on a dotted line with Louisville. And then at the last minute, Columbus had an opening. They came back and they signed with Columbus. And I think they're trying to make it an every year thing for at least 5 years. And I hope that's the case. I really do. That was me the last 3 days, Fergie. You need your afternoon coffee. Coffee withdrawal headache. Yeah, I actually had to get an energy drink yesterday. I just had to. Louisville has the great bourbon, but the town is about as charming as Albany. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with CrossFit. I'd take it. It definitely would edge out Albany for me. My wife and I have had some good times in Louisville, but usually we just stop there for a day before we hit the Bourbon Trail or we're going to Nashville. But yeah, like the University of Louisville campus area, no thanks. That's very Albany. But the downtown area is pretty nice. make the old horses run Churchill. That would be something. So, but I also think like you establish a relationship with a city, they start working with you, the promotion gets better, a lot of stuff like that. So, did you get to chat with Taylor Bryson about starting Sentinel? I actually talked to them at the games about that before I even started. And I actually was standing beside Taylor when Jamie was going today. And it is really interesting listening to him talk out loud as he's watching an athlete go. And like she was coming to the bar for the first time and he's like, hit this lift, hit it with confidence. You got this. She hit it. Yep. That's it. The entire time. Which was really fun and interesting to hear. I wish they'd use unique city elements more, not just run around this place. Well, they did run along the river, and there used to be a replica of the Santa Maria where their start line was, but because of all the Christopher Columbus stuff going on, they removed it from the river, and now it's in a museum somewhere in downtown. So yeah, it's weird. Stockyards in Fort Worth was fun. It was. Yeah, I had dinner there one night. It was really good. So that's about it. Those are my good and bad. Again, next week we'll have Jamie and Carolyne on, and they can talk about their experience through it all. I know that they're exhausted from the weekend and going home to recover, take a couple weeks off. I got to talk to a lot of athletes who I think we're going to have on the show periodically, maybe even at the lunchtime. And just to add something to our lunch shows a little bit here and there. I also talked to Josh Hicks, the guy who's over safety for both WFP and was pulled in on this to run the safety plan. Just gonna have him on, talk about what they're doing there. We're gonna have a lot of fun times coming up. Made a lot of connections. We're gonna have people on these shows, but I can't wait to keep moving forward with you guys. Hicks is a good dude. He is. Doug Reed is the best Reed. He is, and his name isn't Doug. I remember when there was a vote to change the name. I voted for Flavortown, USA. That's good. The problem is if you left it up to people here, they'd call it something Ohio State, which just does not bode well, does not land well with me. Blue plate special lunches with the Masters. There we go. Floor announcers. I thought they did great. The only thing I would say is at the start of the day for the women, the announcers announced the women from 15th to 1st with like a big exclamation of this person's in the lead. As we got to later in the morning, they were doing it just 15, lane 15 down to 1, and it had less of a punch. And I didn't like that. I liked that they emphasized like the top 3, and this is the person in the lead, and here we go for the final workout. Are they going to keep it? Yeah, Ty Jenkins was great. Everybody thought he was just going to be there for the teens. And when he was out there announcing the Masters, they were all shocked. And I was talking to Jen Dieter, who it's actually in the interview we do. She talked about she works out with Ty, and all of a sudden she's out on the floor and he's announcing, and she's like, "What? Wait, what?" I thought that was funny. But yeah, Ty was great. I thought all the announcers were great. That's the only criticism I would have had the whole day today is let's elevate the people in the top 3. That's it. And now here come the more old jokes. Advil and Icy Hot should have been sponsors. Yes, exactly, CrossFit. Yes. With the Alan Parson Project playing in the background. There you go. The top 3 should be celebrated going into that last event. Let's get this shit pumped up. Let's go. Let's go. Jay Birch standing on those cement floors for days. 2 Advil every day to start the day this week. Don't you and I know it, brother. 55 never felt like 60 so much in my life. Icy Hot is where it's at. There you go. All right, guys. This actually did go almost 90 minutes with just me and my blowhard voice. But here we are. Could not be prouder of my co-hosts. They fought all weekend. The Carolyne Prevost, Caroline Klutz matchup back and forth all weekend was epic. So much fun to watch. And I think it'll be back next year. Caroline texted me on her way home that all this did was make her hungrier to come in for the gold next year. So she's motivated. And Jamie will probably take the year off and somehow talk herself into doing this again. So don't forget, a couple of the raw and uncuts are on members only. Go check that out. I'll probably put a couple more of those out, and then I'll start piecing stuff together. I'm probably going to go back to the Hattie project for a little bit, and then I'll finish up with the master stuff after that. But again, the master stuff is not about this weekend. It's more about their livelihoods, how they got into all this stuff, why they're doing this stuff, and all that kind of stuff. So don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Love you guys. You're the best. Can't wait for everything to talk about all week. I'll be here tomorrow for lunch with the Clydesdale. Have no idea what we're going to talk about, but we'll talk about something. And we'll see everybody tomorrow for that. With that, good night and peace out from Columbus, Ohio.